I think we can all agree that in 2015, none of us would have known where we would be in 2020. Hi, my name is Andrew Ewing. I'm a professor of chemistry and molecular biology at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden. I'm also a member of the Swedish Academy of Sciences, the group of scientists that decides the Nobel Prize each year. Today I want to talk to you about how wearing a mask has a lot of similarities to wearing a seatbelt. So let's go into that. How is wearing a mask like wearing a seatbelt? If you read history, then you know that in the beginning there were many that fought against wearing seatbelts too. The arguments against seatbelts were the following. They give false security. People might drive more reckless in a seatbelt. But in reality, those that buckle up are more aware and drive more carefully. They also said if I have a bad accident, I want to be thrown from my car. But statistically, 79% of those thrown were killed compared to very little when wearing a seatbelt and staying in the protection of their car. If my car goes underwater, I might panic and drown before getting out of the seatbelt. But the risk of going into a lake is far less than having an accident where the seatbelt saves your life. Seatbelts are uncomfortable, people said. Oh please, now we know that we feel more comfortable with one than without one. Think about it, they give us safety. Then there's the classic. We should be free to decide for ourselves. I'm sorry, but when it harms others, we simply are not. Finally, there is the absurd. They wrinkle and leave creases in one's clothes. I kid you not, this was a real reason that was given. Compare these to the arguments against wearing masks now. They are astoundingly similar. Let's take them one by one. Some say they give false security, but then ask yourself, why have they worked so well in countries where they are mandatory? The argument makes no sense. Some say it's not scientifically proven that they work. Let me tell you, as a scientist who has looked, nearly 200 studies, both scientific and of countries where they have been effectively used, say otherwise. Then there are those who say they could make the infection worse if you touch them. This is perhaps the most ridiculous reason. If the mask filters the virus and then you touch it, how can this be worse than having no mask and breathing in the virus to begin with? At least with the mask, you can wash your hands if you touch it. Without the mask, you're just breathing it in. But the key is, in fact, that the masks worn by all keep the infection to ourselves, symptomatic or asymptomatic. Many think masks are too expensive, but they are using them in countries way poorer than Sweden, the UK, or the US. So how can this be a reason? Some think wearing a mask is uncomfortable. But just like seatbelts in the beginning, masks give us the security during the time of the pandemic to go out and shop and help our economy. Then there's my personal favorite. God could not have breathed life into Adam and Eve if they had masks on. Do you really think this is a valid argument? And a recent study now shows that oxygen and carbon dioxide, the two most important gases when we breathe, are the same level outside our mouths with or without a mask. So I guess the Lord could have given his breath to a masked Adam or Eve too. And this dispels the concept of masks making it hard to breathe. They simply do not. And finally, I want to talk about freedom, because many think it's all about freedom. This is kind of like fighting laws to have a pool fence. You might feel safe without one as you know how to swim, but pool fences protect small children, and perhaps we might think about old people who cannot swim, from drowning. And they are mandatory. And like sweet seatbelts, we do not complain about the laws requiring them because we know they're needed to protect people. I think we can all agree that pool fences and seatbelts save lives. It's also no different for masks. Seatbelts save our own lives in a bad accident. They save our children's lives. They reduce economic damage to the community and reduce needed medical care as well as insurance costs. For masks, an overwhelming number of studies of countries where they have been made mandatory in public show that they have dramatically reduced the disease. What more do we want? But it gets better. In all these countries, even poor countries, the people have made masks at home and these work. So much for the expense. We are all used to wearing seatbelts and pool fences, aren't we? We will get used to masks too. And we only need them for a time, that is, until we get the infection down. So we know that masks save lives, But the economy is also important. How do masks measure up here? When the disease is high, consumers are afraid, and fewer, especially those in the older generation with more money, venture out to consume. This in turn causes a drop in the economy and can lead to a loss of jobs. The business magazine Forbes in the USA has recently run articles with titles like "Wear a Mask and Save the Economy" and "A National Mask Mandate Could Save the US Economy $1 trillion." Masks are a tremendous weapon to shut down this disease and dull or even stop any second wave. Like seatbelts and pool fences, universal masks for a time is the best way to save lives in our lifestyle. The Swedish Academy of Science and the Center for Disease Control in the USA have endorsed the use of masks. The top medical journals have published reviews showing they work. Apple stores worldwide insists on masks for customers and employees alike. AstraZeneca, a world-leading pharma company developing a COVID vaccine, has mandatory masks. And what more do we need to know? A key message here is my mask protects you. Your mask protects me. This is our best way to beat this disease and get us all safely back to work. This is simply a no-brainer. And now that that is settled, I feel confident to put on my mask and go to the store.